Jim, I have a bone to pick with you. Our sales are in the graveyard. Could you please present your findings and make it quick?
You know, with the fiscal quarter creeping up, this plan should be boosting our sales. If I can only present it without disconnecting again.
Sales are
Oh, there it goes.
please quick.
Jeepers creepers, this is the third time today.
Streamergency. The spooky, scary situation when one's video stream breaks down or cuts out unexpectedly. Fix streamergencies with Speedify. Don't be caught dead waiting for your streams and calls to reconnect. Trick or treat yourself to Speedify. Available now on iOS, Android, Mac, PC, and Linux. Boo.
Hey, happy Halloween week. I'm Alex Gizis, your host. This is the 24th episode of Speedify Live, believe it or not. And have we got a good one for you tonight? Our special guest is Greg Hager, the director at the Haunted Willard Public Library in Evansville, Indiana. So can we get Greg on here? Let's see. All right. So we got Greg. Hi, Greg. See me all right? And we also have the library. So this is the live video feed from in the Willard Library. Greg, can you tell us a little bit about the history of the Willard Library? I can't hear you, Greg. Uh-oh. Why can't we hear Greg? All right. So while we try to figure out what is wrong with Greg's audio, let me talk for a second about the tools we're using here. We are using Restream to stream, so that allows us to go to a gazillion channels at once. We're going to our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, LinkedIn, Nemo TV, Trovo, My LinkedIn, and yeah, lots of other places. So we are live. So if you post comments in any of those places, we will see them stream by. All right. Well, I think I hear you. Greg, are you there?
I am here.
All right. I don't know what happened.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you great now.
Okay, great.
So we're having some technology issues here today, but whatever. That's the internet for you.
It is.
So, Greg, how about you tell us a little bit about the history of Willard Library to get oriented?
Sure. Willard Library is the oldest public library building in the state of Indiana. It's located in Evansville, which, if you think about the way the state looks in Indiana, go to the point in Indiana to the west, and so southwestern Indiana is where Evansville is located, and it's located on the banks of the Ohio River. Some people say it's where the river makes a grin. It's kind of an upside down grin, but that's what's happening there. It's kind of like an oxbow, or almost an oxbow. And we have relished the fact that we are a very old public library in the truest sense of the word. Public. Our founder was named Willard Carpenter, And so you'll notice that it's not called the Carpenter Library; it's called Willard Library for his first name, because this was his library. That's the way he saw it. Originally, he wanted to build a college for women, and he had property where he wanted that to be located. But in the end, he just found out that he did not have really enough money to adequately endow a college, but he did have enough money to adequately fund a public library, which is something Evansville never had. So he was kind of a Andrew Carnegie before there was an Andrew Carnegie.
Right.
And
So what year was this?
It was nice. I'm sorry?
What year was this about? When
it opened in
around?
1885.
Okay.
His idea began in 1876. And he was kind of talked into that by some of his local friends. They said, hey, you know what? You could really make a difference by endowing a public library. And it was something that nobody else really had. And the more he thought about it, he liked that idea. So when Willard Carpenter got behind an idea, he really, really got behind an idea. So he could be seen carrying brick and mortar up and down the scaffolding, working really just as hard as any other laborer on the site. The biggest difference was he was close to 80 years old, and he probably shouldn't have been carrying brick and mortar up and down the scaffolding. So at the end of October in 1883, Mr. Carpenter suffered a massive stroke and died in early November of 1883. No. Yeah, he never saw his library open in public. So his crowning achievement, he never got to witness.
All right. So we've comments coming in already. People pointing out that ghosts cause Wi-Fi interference.
Great.
And we have people saying hi from Egypt.
Egypt. Welcome, Egypt.
It's Amir. And Canberra, Australia, Jacqueline.
Australia, fine.
Hello down under.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're really seeing your questions, comments.
Cool.
So,
do I need to address those?
I'll just poke them. Yeah, and just people joking about how our technical issues were probably caused by the ghost. So
some people say that it's happened. It happens a lot.
It's possible.
Yeah.
So I live in a 200-year-old house where the garage door just opens itself.
All right. Well, that's kind of freaky.
It is kind of freaky, and the garage door repair people are quite annoyed with me. They've changed the frequency 5 or 6 times. They've replaced the circuit boards, and every once in a while, the garage door just opens itself.
Yeah, that's just the way.
So I assume that's a ghost.
Sure.
They don't want to come anymore. So, all right. So who is this gray lady we hear so much about?
All right. Well, here's the thing. Nobody really knows. So when she was first seen, she was described as a woman. So we know that much, but like from the original sighting. Some people say that it's none other than one of the daughters of the library's founder, and her name was Louise Carpenter. And she and her father really didn't get along very well. I think they were I think they were very similar to being the same kind of person. So, they kind of butted heads because they're both so stubborn and opinionated. Louise happened to be married at the time to a man named Converse Clement. And Converse Clement also had worked for her dad for a period of time. And her dad he did not like this guy. And really, truth to be known, Louise didn't like him much either. Her father called him a degenerate gambler and encouraged Louise to divorce this guy and move on with her life. And Louise did finally divorce him. only after her father had passed away. So Louise sued the library. Turn of the century courtroom drama. And people were called in to testify in court as to whether or not Willard Carpenter was sane or insane when he made his will. Louise lost the lawsuit, and the bulk of her father's fortune remained with the library, which is where her father wanted it to be.
Huh. Okay. So Tracy Cantor says, I am in the parking lot. I just took a brief tour of the library. Gray lady tipped my bag off of the table she occupies when entering the building. All right. Sounds like she's very active.
You can't be. So there are other people who say it's not just one ghost, that there are multiple entities here. And there have been, there's the woman they describe as the Gray Lady. There are older men, older women, young children, boys and girls, younger men, and some people have said there's a ghost cat. I don't know where all these entities come from.
A ghost cat. All right.
Ghost cat is one of the newer ones I've heard. I've never seen anything that looks like a ghost cat. But
so
other people.
How did you decide to put up the cameras, and when did that happen?
Okay, so this. Okay, maybe I need to have a better business plan in place, but we put up a camera when a friend of mine who was working for our local newspaper, he gave me a call and said, "Hey, Greg, I've been thinking about something." He said, "What if we had a camera, like an internet cam, in the library?" And this was back in 1999, and I was just starting to read about these like video cams, the internet cams, and I was like, "We could have Willard cam. That'd be cool." Mm-hmm. And he said, "Well, I was kind of thinking about having a ghost cam." So we installed a camera on the second floor in the research room, which was the original place. The original ghost cam went there, and people could look for the ghost 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This was the early days of the internet, and the idea was, well, we'll just put it up for a couple of weeks before Halloween. And the Associate Press showed up, and they did a story about it. And then it went into all the AP newspapers across the United States. It was on HDTV. It was on ZDTV. A whole lot of people saw this. And on Halloween night, there was so much business, so much internet traffic going to the cam, in and out of Evansville to get to the cam, that it crashed the entire network going into Evansville.
Whoops.
Yep. We hadn't counted on that. I mean, nobody could have. And like I said, that was the early days of the internet. So there wasn't a whole lot of robust systems in place, and a lot of ability to accept that level of traffic. But millions of people tried to go to the website that evening, and it did crash in 1999. So we knew we were on
Those were early
something.
days, right? You guys were streaming. Yeah, now everyone's talking like streaming is the new big thing, right?
Right.
Like,
I mean,
you guys have been doing it for 22 years.
Yeah. So
nice.
And over the years we've expanded the cams. We now have 6, and they actually have the video ability, so that people could actually capture a stream. So if you see a ghost that's moving or doing something, you can literally capture that. Now we're still working through some bugs, because this is a fairly new ability for us. The Friends of Willard Library decided that they would take ownership of the cams. So they took ownership of the 6 cams that had been commercially sponsored And, you know, frankly, during COVID, some of those commercial sponsors failed. They couldn't continue to do it, and they couldn't continue to stay in business. So fortunately, we had what would be the fundraising arm of Willard Library, the Friends of Willard Library, that would take over the cams and connect them to an online store so that people can go, and especially this time of year, we have Great Lady merchandise. So you can buy a Great Lady t-shirt. You can go and buy this is cool. You can buy a Great Lady like a mug. You can put, if you put hot liquid in this mug, so coffee, tea, whatever hot liquid you want to drink, you don't see the Great Lady until you put hot liquid into the mug. But once there's hot liquid in there, the Great Lady appears. So it's thermodynamic. Yeah. It's cool. And there are a lot of other cool things, not just related to the ghosts. So if you're looking for stocking stuffers, if you're so inclined, or you just want a really cool gift, a unique gift to give to somebody, and they're kind of into the paranormal, or just even into history, this store has a lot of really good deals.
And that's on the Willard Public Library website, right?
It is. Yeah, just check that out. It's really cool.
All right. Yeah, can we put at some point we'll put up the URL, make sure people know exactly what it is.
Great. So
how many people do you get on a normal day? I mean, I guess Halloween and stuff, it goes crazy, huh?
Okay, yeah, it does. And unfortunately, we're not doing our normal. Normally we would be having ghost tours this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
And they're public tours. They last about 30 minutes, and people sign up for these. We take them through the building. We talk about all of the places where the ghost has been seen, sensed, smelt, felt. And they are extremely popular. They're free of charge. Everything we do is free of charge. We're a public library, so we don't charge for programs. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we haven't been able to do that for the last couple of years. So we're trying to find other means of making Willard Library accessible while being safe. And we don't want to endanger our population ever. But on an ordinary year, we would have more than 2,000 people through the building in those few weeks for those tours.
Yeah. All right. Can we buy books on tape?
Can you buy books on tape?
I guess
No.
Probably mean take them out.
You can access books on e-audio books. We have ebooks.
Mm-hmm.
We don't charge for anything.
Are you part of that Overdrive? Is that what it's called?
We're implementing Overdrive probably within the next 2 weeks. We're in the process of actually changing our entire website. Our website design is going to be totally different. It's going to be modernized, more up to date, a whole lot more user friendly, and sporting new logos. And it's going to be really exciting. And yes, we will be launching Overdrive. Right now we have something called Access 360. It's a really easy thing to use. It's just not as well known as Overdrive.
Yeah, the Philadelphia Public Libraries are on Overdrive. And the Philadelphia Public Libraries are on Overdrive.
Oh, absolutely!
I use it. I like it.
Overdrive is probably the most popular of e-book, e-audiobook services. It's kind of become the norm. It's the VHS of versus beta. They just kind of have dominated that market.
The book I want is always out, but there's always something I find instead. So,
what book are you looking for?
Oh, I don't know. Whatever pops in mind. So I head to the library to see if I can get it.
So,
right?
Are you saying anytime you go to look for a book, you can't find it?
I suspect I hear about some book being very popular, and then I'm always looking for the most popular book, right? But that's fine.
Okay, fair enough. Sure.
So yeah, we have people showing up saying how great the cups are, Meg.
Do not put them in the dishwasher.
Do not put them in the dishwasher. Okay, Meg, you've been warned.
Hand wash only.
Okay.
Otherwise, the dishwasher makes them too hot and they just burn out.
Okay. I guess that makes sense. So what's the Gray Lady's favorite book?
Well, she once famously threw a book entitled Betsy's Wedding, which was in our children's department. And it was kind of slung, I'm going to say about 3 to 4 feet from the shelf that it was on. During a commentary from the children's librarian to a child and a mother, that the Gray Lady probably wasn't around anymore, because the kid seemed a little afraid. So this was some years ago. This was, I'm going to say, back in the 1980s, maybe 1980s. But yeah, the librarian was saying, "Oh, we don't think the ghost is around here much anymore. I think you're safe and you're fine." And all of a sudden, here comes this book entitled Betsy's Wedding.
All right. So, what was that on the video?
I'm sorry, I can't see the video.
Oh, you can't see the video. Okay.
I can only see me, and you know what?
A woman in gray just walked through the children's room.
Now that's entirely possible. Sure.
Yeah. All right. With a veil on. All right. She must have known Betsy. Someone suggests.
And that's how she looks, according to people who have seen her.
All right. Well, can we go to the basement hall? Will we catch her there?
You might.
All right.
The basement hall is where the Gray Lady was first encountered. Really? Yes. She was encountered in February of 1937. The custodian would come in. His practice was to come in very early in the morning, like 3 a.m. And he would head downstairs into this basement that didn't look anything like the basement we have today. I mean, you got to think of the Victorian basement. Red brick floor. It was dark. He was carrying a flashlight. There was a coal-fired furnace that he was there to take care of and kind of get it up, up and going, kind of bank it for the upcoming day so it would be warm in the library. And on his way to do that, at the junction of the two hallways that you can see from the webcam, had a furnace, a coal-fired furnace that he was there to take care of. And before him stood what he would describe as a woman in a Victorian-style dress, lace-up Victorian-style shoes, and she had a gauzy material over her face. So he really couldn't see her features very well, but he realized that his flashlight beam passed right through her. And
always a good sign.
He did not feel good about having this encounter. And he would, he got very tired of trying to tell people about this ghost and having nobody believe him. In the words of the day, he took to drink, and then people really didn't believe him because they just thought he was some old drunk.
The drunk guy.
He's the only person to leave the employment of the library and cite as his reason for doing so, having always seen the ghost.
All right. So that AP, you said that you got an article in the Associated Press. How did they find you? How did you get them to write about you? Or how did that happen?
They just showed up.
They just showed up. That's what happens when you're selling the most popular site on the internet. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was a runner from that was in Evansville that wrote for the AP, and because we were working in conjunction with the local newspaper to put this cam up. We've always said, hey, we don't know a whole lot about the cams. We just provide the famous ghost. Other entities provide all the technology. So, yeah, when our local newspaper was partnering with us, I think, yeah, they're Associated Press reporter said, "Hey, this sounds like something that has some legs," and it did. I mean, when I was seeing this story in the San Antonio newspaper and papers further west, yeah, Mayday. It was huge. It was not going to be a
Nice.
2 week. We're just going to leave this up for 2 weeks and move on. No, we were.
So, are
famous.
you doing much to promote it? How do you? I mean, do people just come now and you just do the website, or are you working on getting more stories and getting the word
we're always
out?
happy to have more stories, but the Gray Lady doesn't audition.
Right.
She's just famous. She is the most famous library ghost in the world. We're huge in South Korea.
All right. All right. We got people in the audience saying that they think they just saw the Gray Lady.
Okay.
All right. Does the Gray Lady converse with other spirits in Evansville?
That's a good question. I don't know. Other people have attempted to converse with the Gray Lady. And if anybody out there is a fan of the Amityville Horror, The Conjuring, Conjuring 2, that's Ed and Lorraine Warren. And they did come here to Willard Library in the 1980s. And I mean, I hope people are familiar with the Warrens. They're both passed away now, but they were huge in terms of investigating paranormal activity. And when Lorraine entered Willard Library in the first floor, she said, "Oh, there's nothing here." But when she went down into the basement, into the children's department, particularly the part of the children's department where there is a story room, Lorraine immediately felt a presence, immediately went into kind of her trance that she would do. And she stayed in that trance for so long that Ed became very concerned about her and kind of ended up bringing her out of that trance. So what Lorraine reported was that there was a woman, she had envisioned a woman in horrible despair and pain and suffering, mourning the loss of a small child with something to do with the body of water. And as far as we know, there was no body of water on the property ever. The Ohio River is not very far away. The Erie Canal, the terminus for the Erie Canal was not far away. But on the property itself, there didn't seem to be any kind of a record of any kind of water. But that's what she experienced. And so, many other paranormal investigators have been here over the years. Many. I mean, we have, until we had the pandemic, we had at least one paranormal investigation, overnight paranormal investigation a year. And most seem to have some kind of finding. And I've seen some
TV shows like Ghost Hunters or whatever.
We've been on just about every paranormal show that you can see on mostly cable TV. But yes, definitely Ghost Hunters. Great to work with. Some shows that
do they just call you, or do you?
Yeah, their production company calls.
Yeah. So do you? Kane asks, do you allow sleepovers in the library?
We do not. We're paid to be here for during the day for public library services, and that's kind of what we do. But again, we do the one overnight paranormal investigation. It's not open to the public. It's just paranormal investigators come in. There is a group of fans of Willard Library called the Willard Library Ghost Chatters. They've been coming here from all over North America, actually, for this event, and for the last 20 years. And again, that got interrupted too because of the pandemic. But the leader of the Willard Library Ghost Chatters, the phenomenal leader of the Ghost Chatters is named Mare, and she's from Canada. So, yeah, people from Canada, we have people from Texas, Missouri. I mean, they come from all over. And they just do this it's like a once a year pilgrimage, and they come to see the overnight investigation. And then I call him the father of the American Paranormal TV show, Tim Hart, and his project is called the Mesa Project. He's probably investigated Willard Library the most of any paranormal investigator. So yeah, he sets up his equipment typically in our upstairs meeting room, which actually is where the ghost hunters had an encounter. They didn't record it, but as they were having their break, they saw this mist rise up along the wall. And yeah, I mean, it's just yeah, we've had it just about everybody.
And you definitely don't have women who just wear veils and gray dresses wandering around your library right now?
There may be somebody doing that,
yes. So Tracy says...
I'm not supposed to say that, but yeah, we're messing with you guys. That's not normal.
Tracy says that she lives in a house that George Bros built in 1870. It is located just a few miles away. He has been very active lately. They may know one another and be in communication.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I mean, Willard Carpenter was a very well-known businessman.
Okay. All right. And so Call Me V asks, why did the ghost go into the bar? For the booze. Booze.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Come on.
We're not paid enough to put with this.
Okay. All right.
Come on, we want serious questions, people.
That was funny.
Serious live stream. So Greg, what did you do before you were at the library? Did you have a...
Well, I've been working in libraries for 40 years. Okay. So since I was 16 years old, I've worked in a public library. Okay. And it's what I wanted to do. I've worked here at Willard for 28 years, 27 of those years as the library director. Despite my gray hair and gray beard, I'm not that old. So I've had other than working in a library, I've only worked on a farm. I grew up on a 40-acre farm in southeastern Ohio, Appalachia. So that's where I was before I went into libraries. And if somebody had told me when I was in library school that I would be a PR person for a ghost, I would have told them they were nuts.
It looks like a nice library. I mean, I like the woodwork on these stairs.
Thank you. I built most of that myself by hand.
Did you really?
No.
No.
That was built in the 1880s.
Yeah.
What you see around you, what you experience when you walk into this library, is original architecture. There are a few things that aren't original. The chandeliers that we have hanging up on both the first and the second floor that you can see, they're not original. The originals were gas lights. Oh, yeah. And when we designed these lights to replicate what was there before, and our electricians, because we're not going to put in gas lights, that's not safe anymore. When our electricians got up into the ceiling, they discovered the places where the gaslight chandeliers actually hung, and they came to me and said, these are not exactly located where the architect called for them to be, but we feel very strongly that these should hang in the original spots. And we made that happen because that's what we do. I mean,
Nice.
we are about keeping this building as original as possible. Of course, we have central air, we have central heating. People
Good.
seem to like that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
people seem to like having electricity and lighting. So we made those accommodations. But the flooring, the woodwork, the way the stairs creak when you go up them, that's all from the 1800s. And the stuff you see behind me, that's all original stuff.
Yeah. It looks nice. Yeah. Nice woodwork. Nice chandeliers.
It's a great office. I love being in here. I mean,
Yeah.
I've got a fireplace.
High ceilings.
20-foot high ceilings. Yeah.
So this is the research room, I guess we're looking at here, with the chandeliers and tables. It's nice.
With glass shades.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things, those are fairly modern tables, but we designed them to look like historic tables. And when people come in to do genealogy work, they like to claim their space by turning on their light. So they go to their seat, they turn on the light, that's theirs.
Right. Okay. So other people who are doing things like this, any suggestions for them on how to get the word out? Other people trying to do streams on the internet.
I mean, just keep doing it. We kind of fell into it by accident.
Yeah.
And I would say if anybody's thinking about getting into doing some kind of live streaming, think about what people want to have access to. What might they want to see? And let's not be X-rated about it. Let's not be even R-rated about it. But let's focus on what would be cool to see. And I mean I've seen some fantastic things, not just about ghosts, but videos of animals. That there was one about eagle's nest, and you could see these eagles hatching their fledglings, and it's a really cool experience. And I would just encourage people to be careful, be safe about what you're doing, make sure you have the rights to do it, and use your imagination. I think people are willing to, especially with this pandemic in which we've been, our society's been a little closed off. There's just an outlet, a desire, if you will, to have some ability to experience something that's fun and interactive and entertaining that you can do safely. And that's, I tell you, these webcams and live streams, they've been a real godsend to people, I think.
Yeah, in Philadelphia a bunch of years ago now, there were a nest of red-tailed hawks. I think it was on the library.
Yes. Yes.
Right? And so they put a camera on that, and everybody watched. It was so amazing.
Perfect.
I don't know what happened, but the city now has hawks.
So is this the Free Library of Philadelphia? My daughter lives in Philly, by the way.
Oh, okay.
She just moved there about a year ago and loves it.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's a great
red-tailed hawks. I love that. That's so cool. Exactly.
Yeah. And I've said this before, but I've been watching all the spaceship launches. There are so many rockets these days, and they live stream, and I love watching rockets go up.
I do too. Yes. Yeah, it's cool. I don't get tired of it.
All right. So someone else is asking, who is this? Tracy again. Do you know the cemetery that the Gray Lady is buried in? So I guess assuming that's the daughter.
So Louise Carpenter is buried in a cemetery in Massachusetts, Raynham, Massachusetts. She had been living nearby with her daughter and her daughter's husband, her son-in-law, and passed away, I believe, in 1908, maybe 1907. I can't remember the exact date. I don't have it in front of me, but nowhere near here, and not during 1937.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
All right. Karen says, "Hi, Greg. This is great." Thanks,
Good.
Karen. Good.
Okay. Thank you. Which Karen is that?
Kuhlenholter. Sorry, if Karen.
Oh, cool. Karen? I know Karen.
All right.
She's wonderful. Oh my gosh. She's a
How close was I on the pronunciation of the last name?
Kuhlenholter. Yeah. She's she's a great library supporter. Thanks, Karen.
All right. And Flippin' Ohio says, "I believe I've seen stuff. Lived in a house that was haunted." All right.
Wait a second. Whereabouts in Ohio?
As their name, they put in Flippin' Ohio. I don't know.
Flippin' Ohio. Okay. That could be anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a Buckeye myself, so, you know.
So, Indiana, did you guys ever straighten out your time zones?
No.
No.
It's actually, I think, the state motto by now. It's "Welcome to Indiana." We don't know what the hell time it is either.
I mean, I stayed there one summer, and lots of great things to say about the state. But
where did you stay?
I don't remember now. We were manufacturing plastic parts. We were manufacturing plastic parts, and I was staying near the plant.
Okay.
So this was 2004 probably.
All right. Okay.
But like, you could be in the same state, and the closest airport can be in a different time zone.
That's true.
I nearly didn't get out of the state.
At least not on time.
That's right.
That's awesome.
Other than that, wonderful place.
It is. It's a good place.
Yeah, there was a bar I was eating dinner at like pretty much every night. And, you know, within a week, I'd walk in, everyone would go, "Alex!" And I've never had that in Philly. I've been here 30 years. I've been here 30 years. And, you know,
yeah.
I get grunted at, right?
Sure. Yeah. They must have liked you a lot.
All right. All right. And Riley says, Riley Thomas, "We have a ghost tour recording on our YouTube page now." Okay. You guys have a YouTube page.
We have a YouTube channel. Actually, we have two. One is for mostly for adults, and there's a Willard Library children's channel that's, you know, mostly for kids. You know, a lot of, you know, story times and that kind of thing. Riley is a very, very gifted marketing and events coordinator for Willard Library, and he is rightly promoting the fact that we do have a Willard Library ghost tour on video that was recorded very, very recently. We had a kind of a contest. We really couldn't do our normal tours because our normal tours will get filled up with 100 people, and there's just no way to keep 100 people, you know, in the building, distanced in our library departments, and be safe about it. So that's why we knew we couldn't do tours last year or this year. But what we could do is we offered a contest in which people could subscribe, like, and comment on our YouTube channel, and they were automatically registered for a chance to win a private tour. And 3 people did, and it was a person plus one. So there were 6 people on the tour, and they were given a very private, intimate tour, but it was also recorded, so people could watch that and kind of get a glimpse of what a normal ghost tour would look like. But picture, you know, about 96 more people there.
Right. Okay. That's great. So Flippin' Ohio answered again. Mansfield's
way up north. Oh my gosh. I'm not sure I'm even allowed to go back to Mansfield. You're
wanted.
No, there was a band from Youngstown, but maybe we stayed in Mansfield. Anyway, the Gutter Snipes were big in that part of Ohio. But Mansfield has a very, very famous haunted place, which is the Mansfield Reformatory, one of the foremost haunted places in the United States. You can see them almost, again, like Willard Library, almost every paranormal show.
Cool. All right. So yeah, anyone else, if you got questions or whatever, you just put them down there. We're watching them.
If I can't answer them, I'll make up something. It sounds really good.
Yeah, there's the gray lady again in the adult services first floor.
Yeah, she just looked at my window, actually. She looks at my office window. She looks suspiciously like somebody that works here.
All right. This is great. Looking closely at the details. With a bunch of paintings of people in the adult services room. Who are those? Do you know?
Are we talking about the four that are next to the display case?
Yep.
Okay. The very first, moving left to right, the very first picture is Willard Carpenter as a younger man. Next to him is his wife, Lucina. Mm-hmm. Next to her is Marcia, one daughter. And next to her is her husband, DeWitt Keller. So the interesting thing about these particular portraits is they were painted by an itinerant artist, and he would show up at the homes of affluent people with his canvases, and he had the bodies painted already. So you would pick out your body that you wanted, and he would paint your face and your hands. So this was kind of like the early, I guess, kind of like Instagram filters.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you wanted to fake it a little bit, maybe you wanted to be a little, more thin, he could make that happen for you.
Nice.
Yeah.
You probably knew a cheaper artist.
Right. Yeah. This was not a top shelf artist. Now there's another picture on the wall of Willard Carpenter as an older man in the adult services department. And we hear a lot, he looks like Ben Franklin. And then we also hear a lot of, he looks like Danny DeVito. But that's how most people.
So extraordinarily handsome is what you're saying.
Absolutely. I mean, he's a good looking guy, even at age 70.
All right.
And that one is actually painted by T.C. Steele. So a fairly famous artist.
Okay. Cool. So what's next? Do you have more plans for the future? Are you changing anything up here for what you're doing through the Ghost and the library?
I mean, we've it would be really nice to be able to get back to having overnight paranormal investigations, public ghost tours, just being able to enjoy being somewhat normal again. But I think we also have to pay credence to the fact that we're able to do something like this that people still want to be engaged in. So I don't think that the virtual presence for any of our programming should go away. We've learned how to adapt without people, but still engaging people remotely. And when we're able to engage people in person again, I still don't see that remote factor going away. I think that people will still want that. They'll want to see, even if they've been here for it, they may want to go back and see an archives. They may want to go back and be refreshed. So we've learned how to cope, how to adapt. And if there's anything positive that can come out of a pandemic, it's this. It's the ability to still connect.
So Riley Thomas, who I believe works there, that's your AV guy, says, I want to hear the story about the story room and the little boy playing with the dollhouse.
Okay. Not necessarily a little boy. Okay. So This was our, I think I'm right when I say this. This was our last paranormal investigation, overnight paranormal investigation that we were able to have. And we had a group here from Lafayette, Indiana. And they came in with their equipment and set up in the, well, one of the places was in that story room. And they had an SLR camera. And just from what I know from watching paranormal shows on television, these cameras are able to show you kind of a stick figure representation of whether it's a person, whether it's a body that's standing in front of the camera, or whether it's some kind of other anomaly. All right. So you get like the stick figure. So if I'm standing there on camera and I could see myself, I was on camera and I was standing next to one of the other paranormal investigators, and you could see both of us on the monitor. And, you know, if I waved my arms around, it did that in a stick figure. So there we were, side by side, and across the room, and it's not really very far, it was probably 7 feet away from us, there was a shelf, and in the children's story room, and you can see this right now if you want, there's a dollhouse, an old dollhouse, and there was a figure, a small figure, laying in front of the dollhouse. And the paranormal investigators were like, what's that? What is that? And I said, do any of you have kids? Because it was very distinctly the size of a child laying on their stomach, kicking their legs, like kind of in the air. And then their hands were playing with the dollhouse. And it was, for me, that was weird. I was like, I don't know what's going on there, but to me, it looked like a child playing with the dollhouse.
All right. That is strange. Cool. So what else? Yeah, so you're going to keep doing this. Yeah, so when do you, I guess you have no idea when things will reopen, do you?
I wish I had a crystal ball. I really do. I wish I had a crystal ball. I would encourage, I mean, I'll just say this right now. I am very much in favor of, getting vaccines. So get vaccinated when you can, as often as you can. I haven't gotten my booster yet, but I plan to. When younger children can get vaccinated safely, I hope that parents take that to heart, because we're very nervous about trying to schedule any kind of children's activity indoors. Just because we don't want to make anybody ill.
That's right.
So I really hope that people just get vaccinated, and if you can't do that, I hope you have a good reason for that, because I think we also need to understand that there are people out there that can't get vaccinated. We want to protect them too. And yeah, we want to get back to normal as soon as we possibly can. And I don't know when that is.
I agree. Yep. All right. Good to hear. What else? So how many cams are there total in the library?
There are 6 now. There are 6 cams.
Okay.
Right. And maybe we'll add more. Who knows?
Yeah. Like I said, it's a very nice library.
Thank you.
So, what kind of internet do you have there, right? Do you know, is it
really good
cable or
internet.
Fios? Or yeah, it
it's
seems like
fiber
you're
optic.
using a lot of bandwidth. Okay.
Yeah, it's a fiber optic band that we have.
Right.
And we review that on an annual basis with our provider. To make sure, looking at, are we exceeding, things consistently, or are we just exceeding things at a peak time, and just making sure that we're not, that we're not inconveniencing anybody because of slow bandwidth.
Right. So you've had a good experience. All right. Can we do this? It's gonna work.
There's the gray lady right there.
Hey, wait. Can we turn off the stream?
I'm sorry. Say again, Alex.
Oh, there. I'm trying to get them to do that so we can. So is the gray lady in the room with you there?
She just was, yes.
Oops. Turn the camera towards me. All right. Okay. So, who is she? She's an employee of the library. Is that?
She is. I mean, her nickname is Rainbow Bright, but she's otherwise known as Stacy, and she is a gem. She just makes everything better. When you come to work, she just makes everything better. She's just one of those.
She
people.
certainly made this stream better. So thank you, Stacy.
I will convey that to her. She's just off doing her thing.
All right.
And when she comes to me and says, "Hey, can I do this or that?" I'm just like, "Yeah, sure, whatever. Do it. It makes people feel happy."
Yeah, this has been great. Any parting thoughts for our audience, or?
No, you know what? I really hope that go enjoy yourselves. Enjoy your public library wherever you live. The public library is, in my opinion, the most democratic part of government that we have, and it's actually a part of government that people seem to actually enjoy using. I mean, we have local government everywhere.
You almost forget it's government, right?
Well, we're supported by property tax money, so and I think most public libraries are supported by property tax money or millages. I mean, there are different financial things depending on where you live, but at the same time, yeah, it's all part of a local government package. It's all part of public money, and you're paying for it, so you might as well use it. It's always been my thought, and people actually like to come to a public library, whereas if you want to go down to the city building and pay a parking ticket, nobody's really jumping up and down about, oh, good, I get to go pay a parking ticket. This is a place where people like to come. So come here, have fun, hang out, enjoy programs, books, ebooks. Just we're here, and it's a good thing. So I'm not just talking about Willard Library. Anywhere, wherever you live, and if you want to visit Willard Library,
Philly's got grace too. So I'm a big fan.
Philly has an incredible library system. It's one of the oldest public library systems in the United States. And yeah, by all means, my gosh. I mean, we're certainly not in competition with the Philadelphia area public libraries. We could do that, but it's a great library. It's a great library system.
All right. Tracy is saying that she thoroughly enjoyed this. Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Tracy.
And Flippin' Ohio says that he would love, or she, who knows, would love to visit. Right
anytime.
There, Indiana, not that far.
Not that far. Might be a time difference.
Yep. Yeah, probably is. All right. I think with that, all right, let me just talk about our next couple streams, because Thursday we are doing 11:20 a.m. Eastern Time, Vlad the Impaler's Castle. Christian from our team is in Romania, and we are going to be live streaming a tour of Vlad the Impaler's Castle.
Whoa.
Which is terrifying, both because vampires, and two, trying to live stream from in a 600-year-old stone castle.
Yeah.
That's what really scares me. But we're doing it. He has Speedify on his phone. He has multiple cellular SIM cards. And, Speedify should manage to combine all of them and let him keep streaming, maybe even into the dungeon. We'll see where Vlad impaled people. Horrible stories out of that place. So it should be a good stream.
Sounds great.
So, yeah. But, yeah, it's right in the middle of the day, not in the evening like this one. So, That's about it. So thank you again, Craig. This was fantastic. Love the
Thank you for having
library.
me.
And thanks, Stacy. She really enhanced this stream. So good night.
Good night. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.